All right. And thank you to eBay for helping us out. The link is in the description. All of the channels are in the description. So please, please follow all the channels. Thank you again to eBay for being a sponsor. And
oh yes,
it is time
for Michigan to face UNLV. It's interesting. So obviously Michigan is favored by about the same amount as they were against East Carolina, 36.5. Fun fact: Barry Odom is the head coach of UNLV, which I found out, and that was an interesting factoid. He's a first year head coach with them, and obviously was a football player himself. Very very big in playing in Missouri in the 90s, and he was coaching for Missouri for quite a few years. Arkansas was the assistant head coach and defensive coordinator and safeties coach, and then was hired to be the head coach of UNLV for the 2023 season. So they obviously the most interesting thing about these guys that they played Allegiant Stadium. I think that's one of my favorite stadiums, brand new and really cool. And I think it's kind of fun that they play there. But this is an opponent again that Michigan should win pretty decisively against. Sharon Moore is going to be back. He had his 1-game suspension. The NCAA said he's good now. However, Jim Harbaugh is still out. So you get your play caller back in Sharon Moore, which means I expect to see more running because you go from a very pass philosophy type coach in Kirk Campbell to, listen, Sharon Moore, his passion is the O-line. He's going to want to run the ball. So I think you're going to see Blake Corum get out more. Donovan Edwards, you're probably going to see more sophisticated running concepts. I thought that the running concepts that Kirk Campbell called for the most part were extremely vanilla. You can tell that passing is his specialty. So I think you're going to see more interesting, different run concepts, at least in the beginning, until they pull ahead by a lot, and then they'll run it up the middle like they always do. But at least you'll see some different looks. The other piece that I need to bring up is that there is still a battle going on at both tackle positions on the O-line. So they're still figuring out who's going to start, and I believe that Ladarius Henderson and Trente Jones will be starting next game. So Ladarius is going to be on left tackle and Trente Jones on right tackle because they're trying to figure out who are the best that they have. I will say that Hinton is probably done. I think he is officially going to be a backup. So you're down to Ladarius Henderson. We'll see what he has. And then what you have kind of in Trente Jones and Carson Barnhart. Carson Barnhart took a huge step up in 2022. We saw what he did as a starter. Trente Jones has been waiting for his opportunity. If you remember all the way back, he actually had beat Carson Barnhart out like a year ago, in the beginning, and then he got benched or injured, I forget. But the point is, I think you have 3 viable tackle contenders still for a starting role, but there's only 2 slots. So this game is going to, I think, determine who gets those roles. And then by mid game you'll probably see the other 2 again, and then they're going to try to figure out, okay, what is the best combination here? Obviously, the guard positions are locked. Trevor Keegan, Zach Zinner. And the center position, I think, is locked too. I think Drake Nugent from Stanford is a very solid choice. And I think he's better than Crippen. So really, the reason I'm focusing on the O-line so much is because that was a weak point for the first time in almost 3 years that I've seen it be, or even longer, that I've seen it be a weak point in that first game. And I think that is the reason why. Sharon Moore being out, and then this tackle battle that's going on. I think they need to start firming up. Who are the final five? Let's go. It's time to play Rutgers. They gotta get that nailed down these next two games. So I think Michigan's going to win by a lot. I mean, if I had to predict it, I would probably say something on the lines of like a 63-3 type game. I think it's going to be a complete curb stomp. And I think Sharon Moore is going to be very eager to show that we can still run because of what happened last week. So look for a lot of running. I think Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards are going to have a game, and you're going to see Khalil Mullings, who is officially the third string. Khalil Mullings used to be a linebacker, and now he's the third string running back. I would have picked Ben Hall, but Mike Hart knows what he's doing, so I'm going to trust his judgment. And Zach Smith said it. You want to put somebody who has unique talents as your third string, and Khalil gives you that big dude mentality, like barrel it in, get your couple of yards, and then occasionally throw the ball on a jump pass, in a rivalry game. Why not? So he has talents, and clearly was picked because of that. So long story short, we're figuring a lot out as a team, but you can see the experience is there. You can see the production returning is there, and the few positions where things are still being worked out. I think that by the Rutgers game, we're going to have answers on who the starting tackles are. We're going to have answers on the starting second cornerback. It's probably going to be Josh Wallace at this point. He looked great. He had an interception that got called back, but it was a great interception, almost otherworldly, how he was able to catch that ball. So I think you're going to see that happen in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah. I kind of fall in line with you. I mean, at least for a while, Michigan has a pretty easy road.
Yeah.
I think so. Week 4 is Rutgers, and then I can't remember who's next. But
hey, Rutgers looks like they have a bit of life in them. They look like they're going to win some football games.
I mean,
I know it was against Northwestern, but
I
their
was
offense.
but really,
Kirk Soroka's a legit OC. We know he is. He had that 2019 year at Minnesota, beating Penn State. Big year for them. I think he's going to help their offense a lot.
I mean, I'm sure it'll help.
Sure.
I would like to see a competitive Big Ten all around. Honestly,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if Michigan will put up 63. But I can see more than 30 points. I would hope. Because, I mean, here's the thing, though. And I think people kind of overlook this because they're so confident in the team. You can have 2 different coaches being the head coach. So I don't think Michigan's going to lose. If Michigan was going to lose, it should have been last week. So I think Michigan wins. But I think UNLV could possibly cover. So I think it could be Michigan 49, UNLV 21. Yeah. I mean, it just,
very possible.
It's all about when does Michigan pull the starters.
Yes, that's actually a really good point that I forgot to cover for the other game, is that they put the backups in by the third quarter. Davis Warren did not look ready for prime time. I can tell you that right now. I think they're going to try Jack Tuttle as backup next game. I really do. Just see what they have. Look at Alex Orji, see what he can give you, because the backup position needs to get solidified still. JJ McCarthy is obviously the definitive starter, and we know this. It's nice to not have starter drama anymore. JJ got a job, Cade got a job, everybody got a job. But now we got to get that backup position because you need depth, because one bad play and the backup's in, and you need to make sure that position is shored up. And I just don't think Davis Warren's the guy. Unfortunately, I like him. I like his story. He reminds me. I'm a Baker Mayfield fan as well, and I really enjoyed his journey of walking on at Texas Tech, walking on at Oklahoma, proving everybody wrong, winning the Heisman, first overall pick, all of that good stuff. But I will say that this doesn't look like it's going to be that. So Jack Tuttle's probably we're going to see what he has. We should see what Alex Orji has. And yeah, I think in that game you're going to see all of them probably play, because if my prediction is right and they're up by 40 or 50 points, you're going to see Alex Orji, and you're going to see some of the backups to the backups play. CJ Stokes is probably going to play, for example. So I think that's all key. The cornerback, I think Will Johnson is going to be back for game 2, from what I've heard. I think they kept him out to be just cautious, but I think you've got to see Will Johnson and Josh Wallace together out there, just so that you can see against live fire, how are your two cornerbacks? How's your secondary? What's the safety situation going to be with some of the injuries at that position? Keon Sabb looks like he could start any game right now. He's a very, very good player, but obviously we'll see how the injuries shape out for the starters. So it'll be interesting, and it's a game where you're going to get to see a lot of people play, I think.
Oh, I'm pretty sure, yes, especially for both schools. I think it's safe to say that you're going to see a lot of the depth chart in this week and next week. I mean, honestly, it wouldn't. I know, it's a potential Heisman year for him, for JJ. So if Michigan was smart, but I also see them not doing it, they would be like, okay, JJ, we're going against way lesser competition. So you need to be in bubble wrap. You're not going to start for the next 2 weeks. And I honestly wouldn't have even played him last week. I would have kept him in bubble wrap and said, hey, why don't you do something that ain't ever been done? And if you're going to win a Heisman, you're going to do it off of purely Power 5 competition, purely conference competition. I don't believe it's ever been done at the quarterback position. So, I mean, would that cause Michigan to lose a game? I don't think so. I think there's enough strength within the rest of the depth chart that you're still going to be okay. I mean, because you're not talking about sitting Donovan Edwards. You're not talking about sitting Blake Corum. You're talking about sitting one guy. And going back to what you said about, JJ has a job and Cade has a job. You're out here talking like Oprah, bro. You get a job and you get a job and you get a job. Everybody gets a job.
Absolutely. That's what happened. So